Hello, thanks, Brendan. Can you hear me? Good. Okay. So yeah, wow. Today is I can say the historical moment, day in my life, because it's first time I have gone so many research publication just in 1 hour, and I think that was a great experience listening to everybody. And I'm also thankful to Brendan just pointing out that if we start to discuss all these publications in details, it will be full day discussions. But uh, I just, before starting for opening the opportunity for everybody, I just want to thank the team for this opportunity. And also, I would like to congratulate each and everyone in SRFSI team for rocking at the recent 8th World Congress of Conservation Agriculture, which I was also fortunately proudly able to participate on behalf of ACIR. And there was no surprise, but there were several like awards for the team. So that was something I wanted to share from the very beginning. And I understand there is a vibrant discussions already going in the chat box. So without any further ado, I would just like to go back to Manohara, because I understand yesterday also there were questions around farmers typology or gender. Is there anything else you would like to raise here, Manohara?
Hi Pratibha, hi everyone. Just a minute. Yes, hi everyone. It's really great listening and also reading very much impressive scientific contribution and paper. So just starting with the paper, yes, this is not a time to discuss about the paper, but what will be our strategy or approach to make this credible scientific research finding and learning to make accessible to the farmer at all level, like the farmer, women from farmer, and also smallholder farmer, extension officer. So what do we do with this all publication to make this finding also be reached to the people so that they know about the situation of the CASI and also scaling, why it is advantage and how they can promote it, making this knowledge accessible to farmer. This is strategic. Maybe it will be good to discuss among ourselves so that it also help us to set some sort of recommendation for future. Right. This is one. And another is that technology. Again, the technological, because of situation, our context and location is very much different between country, within the country. So what sort of lesson really we draw among the CASI technology, which technology really would be beneficial for especially smallholder farmer and especially women farmer to continue adoption and also use of technology, because many social science research and gender research in this region already pointed out that technology is not easily adopted by women, because there are a lot of challenges that paper from IMA and other paper also highlighted. But what would be our reflection on it? So is it are we saying that all technology that we are providing or promoting is really beneficial from equity, social equity and gender lens or not? This is just reflection maybe needed to discuss.
Yeah, thanks, Manohara. So Brendan, we can maybe start answering those queries and then move on to the next, because I understand there are several different unrelated type of questions. So yeah, please.
Definitely. No,
yeah.
I think I've got a really quick and easy answer for Manohara on her first question. That's the purpose of the SRFSI knowledge repository. And that's why we have the different user groups on the home page. So if you're a researcher, you want a very different set of information to if you're a farmer. We've put some time and effort into trying to develop the different materials that are targeted at different audiences. Now, I guess for most projects, they probably come to a similar point as we're at now. The final year of a project is when a lot of your publications and learning is coming out. So there is a time constraint as to how we do that as well. And it's not unique to SRFSI. But it is something that we've been trying to think about, making sure, through these videos, you don't have to go and read a 10,000 word paper in order to learn some of this, but there is obviously still things we can do to make that information more accessible on that SRFSI web repository.
Just supplement to Brendan, if you allow me.
Sure, go ahead, Mahesh.
That's another that these all publications came, all publication outcomes has been shared, through focus group discussion and all with communities as well. So all information is already shared with our local partners and when we visited them. So it's already shared, and we asked their opinion that what we achieved from your field while collecting data together. This is the information that we got it. So this is correct or wrong, and they proved that. So it means that it's already reached there. But definitely this syllabus, course age and then videos and then repository and will be helpful. And there are other platforms already that this help groups and all, they are using this information in different form, which is locally produced in local language. So there are already is there, and then it's already communicated with them.
So, thanks, Mahesh and Brendan. And I'll just, I was reading the chat box, and there was an interesting question from Ranjita, and probably I will just hand over to her. I think some of the questions regarding innovation platform, Peter has already answered, but the one question on the something like a disease incidence, which is my question too. So I would ask Ranjita to please, or any additional question. Yeah.
Thanks, Pratibha. I think actually who was it? I think it was Apurva who answered that question, but he sent it to me directly, the response. He said that disease is marginally higher in conservation agriculture plots, but can be easily managed by application of chemical or biological agents, either on residue or soil. But I guess still, the question still remains, how do you maintain the motivation of the farmers, to continue to do that? But thanks. Generally, I think all my questions have been answered, or Manohara has asked the other ones. I just want to say something, congratulate the project team. This is an incredible achievement. Often there is this perception that in research for development projects like these, where we are expected to generate impact and international public goods at the same time, that it is very tough balancing these, and usually it is the publication, scientific publications and IPGs that suffer. But you have demonstrated that this is very doable, high quality publications, very insightful publications. So I think you might want to share your strategies and tips and tricks with other researchers and projects on how to do this. I think that would be useful. But just to reiterate what Manohara said about, hey, lots of great research outputs. You have a great repository, but just a little bit of thinking on, is that enough to translate this very rich set of outputs to research outcomes, and consequently to subsequently to development outcomes? That's I guess would be good for the team to reflect on. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks, Ranjita.
May I quickly respond to that,
yeah,
Pratibha?
Sure, Brendan.
Just to say, tomorrow we'll talk about our development outcomes as well. And one of the pathways that we're trying to make sure that there is institutionalization from all of this new knowledge is also through what we're terming scaling reports for each of the geographies. So we'll cover a little bit more on that, hopefully tomorrow. Although I haven't made the presentations yet, I'll have to try and insert it now. But we'll also come in that pathway tomorrow as well.
Yes. Thanks, Brendan. So I'll just try to find Professor Hamid, if you have any question.
Yes. Thank you very much, Pratibha. After a long time, I see you. Okay. First of all, I'm really overwhelmed, excited, and also a little bit confused. You see, the best thing I understand from the project implementation is that you have developed a beautiful partnership and a strong partnership between the regional institution among 3 different countries. I think that institutions and organizational capacity, and also the scientists and the other professionals, together with the farmers, will form a foundation for KC implementation or sustenance in the future. So I congratulate everyone for doing this all. Then there are also, everyone mentioned, I also like to mention, I also had gone through some of the publications. The quality of publication is definitely very high, and the journals are widespread and very prestigious journals that you have published. I counted 96 journal papers and papers have been published or are ready for publication. So I congratulate once again for those. And also, there are some regional papers that we could see this morning. So counting those, there will be around 150 or more than this. So these has generated a lot of information, technological insights, and not only technical, but some of the issues that have been brought out is the socio-economic background and insight of the adoption practices or adoption and non-adoption practices. I emphasize on that non-adoption because I have been associated with several projects and programs in the tribal areas, in Chittagong Hill Tracts, that I learned that adoption is very, very difficult. If we want to jump on the widespread adoption in 5 or 10 years and a single platform will do the job, I think that's the wrong idea. Then what I need that I must emphasize on that is this will definitely help promoting agriculture mechanization. I appreciate that. But what next? One thing I would like to be, why I am confused, because one of the papers very rightly pointed out that, not the papers, one of the presenters rightly pointed out that one size does not fit all. And that is true for everywhere. There are regional differences, there are intra-regional differences also. Even within the village, there are differences. Manohara might have noticed that, and she also put some question that whether this will bring any disparity or social disparity. I do not think so, because in the earlier part of the Green Revolution, the economist presumed that this Green Revolution will bring the increase the social disparity, but that didn't happen really. But I think with the promotion of this TASI technology will definitely help lift the poor people if the technologies are adopted. But one thing that the CASI technologies, these are not, I believe, either I missed it or I couldn't figure out that CASI technologies for inter and intra-regional situations or locations or hub that have not been properly defined or described. And also, there are indications that partial CASI technology will also do. I agree, because maybe zero tillage will not work everywhere. For example, lowland rice. So there is no question of zero tillage. So this will not. But for each and every, or at least is regional location specific recommendation, or in a tabloid form, whether we can have these technologies recommended or adopted by the farmers. That needs to be done. And also, I also put the same question to Dr. Peter Brown, that what about I have gone through his paper, very interesting paper. He presented very briefly, but I have gone through that beautiful paper, and it is very straightforward. I appreciate Dr. Peter Brown's courage, that he has spelled out that the current system or approach of the extension system will not do. I fully agree once again. But what is the alternative? I don't know. So these are the things that really concern me. I want to learn it because unless we learn the system and the activities, how I will get lost. It's enormous amount of information. Once again, I congratulate the scientists and the extension people and other people, policy planners, those who are involved in implementing or facilitating implementation of the project. Thank you very much, Pratima. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Hamid. Brendan, you want to have any comment on?
Just a quick clarification, and I think this is where language also comes into where the project has got to. So in the third phase of the project, we've tried not to use adoption and non-adoption. We're trying to go to that next level of understanding, and particularly when you look at those different typologies, that's when you can start to think about, is it certain subsets of populations that tend to end up at certain typologies? Technologies may not be specific or may not work for everybody. I mean, that's just common sense. But trying to understand where those differences occur, that's part of what the project process has tried to do in this last phase. The last one, Pratibha, was maybe suggesting, I know innovation platforms are a hot topic, so maybe if Peter wants to answer any of those innovation platform questions.
Oh, hi. Yeah, thanks, Brenda and Pratibha, and thanks for all the questions and discussions from the reviewers. They're really good insights. I'm not sure if I can really add much more in terms of the innovation platform story. It is kind of in the paper there, but I guess I'd be interested in the reflections from our partners in country who sort of were involved in the on-ground implementation and what their thoughts are for where some of this work might go in the future and how they might be rolled out, and or whether the innovation platforms are continuing. I've unfortunately lost track with what was happening on the ground there because we've been unable to visit and get a really good idea of what's going on. So I feel like I've been a little bit remote from what's been happening on the ground. So I guess I'm turning that question back to our colleagues in the regions there in the 3 different countries, and perhaps if we can ask them to provide some reflections might be really useful.
Peter, there's 2 minutes left. You're very ambitious
Yes.
with your questioning.
Yeah. So, Brendan, can we take one more question? I think Eric has.
Oh, I didn't have much question, but just on the considerable amount of publications that was produced and the lessons to learn from that. I think the first thing is that the very good data sets were generated, and the talent of the team was to fully analyze them and use the same data set with the various analyses to write multiple papers. So that's where the size of the publication list comes from. And we know at ACR it's pretty common that not all data are actually analyzed. People collect more and only report on a particular angle to these data. So I think the credit goes to the team for having done this effort of exploring essentially the data set they have, which are large but finite, into a pretty large number of analyses. And that's true for the proof of concept work, and that's also true for the socioeconomic and gender work. So that may be first lesson for you. And then I had a particular query about the mention. Now I know it's a bit specific, but in the study about the farmers' perception, the mention that there is a high expectation of government support. Now that's an interesting question then as to whether these expectations can be met.
We lost Pratibha there?
I don't know. So Brendan, you want to ask some of the, maybe the participant, maybe Apurba or people who can provide. I'm not sure which country that was mentioned, the high expectation of government support, but maybe it was Nepal. I don't.
I'm not actually familiar which paper either, but maybe Judge.
If I could add, Brendan, I think the expectations of government support was a regional issue. There are differences in what type of support was expected. And it also sort of extended to the fact that we as sort of development programs also are seen as part of that because we work with government agencies on the ground. So there is expectation that if a machine breaks down, I don't have to think about replacing it because it's the government. It's their job to do so. And then if there is something that needs to be bought, then there has to be subsidy available. So there's a different range in terms of the in-country experience, but it was a commonality across the EGP. Thank you.
I think there's also questions based around ownership that tie into that as well, particularly around machinery maintenance. Whose responsibility is it if a machine stops working? So I think they all interplay, and we did find that as a regional issue. I think Pratibha might be back, but just on the lines of Eric's question, if there was anybody from our regional scenario that had anything further to add before we hand back to Pratibha. There might not be as well.
Yeah, sorry, I got a little disconnect of internet. So I know we are already 2 minutes over our allotted time. So, but still, if any burning question which is pertinent to this session, I think I will be happy to take it. Unless Brendan give the ring.
It is here at my desk, but no, what I wanted to say, Pratibha, is there's been a fair few questions in the chat. So we're monitoring those chats and we know who's asked it. What we'll try and do is put together a document that has answers to the various questions that have been asked, as long as we can work out who the question is directed to. So we'll endeavor to answer everything that's come up in the chat as well.
Yeah. So probably at the moment, I will like to thank everyone for the discussions. And if you have anything, maybe it's good to have directly email to Brendan if any unsolved.
Seems Pratibha's internet might
this session
be...
was named a celebration. Okay, sorry about that.
I'll rudely interrupt because at least Pratibha was being, internet is not connecting to me. I'm not sure about everybody else. So apologies, Pratibha, if it's my internet, not yours. But thank you so much, Pratibha, for facilitation. Thank you so much again to the presenters. Again, it's just not easy to be doing that. So
thank you.
To get all that together is great. As we said, we're 3 minutes over time by my standards, completely unacceptable. But anyways, there's the bell. And we'll be back tomorrow. It's a really interesting session tomorrow morning, because that is where we're going to, for the first time, share the initial findings of our large quantitative survey. And there's a huge amount of knowledge that comes out of that. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that, and also from hearing from each location about convergence, sustainability, next steps. And I really encourage everybody, if they can make session 6, please do make it a priority, because that's where we'll be getting some direct interactions with the reviewers around the big picture items that they want to know more about. And it'd be great to have people, not just me or people from CIMMYT speaking, but to get the inputs of everybody. So if you can make session 6 tomorrow, please try to. Eric, anything else?
No, thank you, Brendan. Masterly done, and yeah, very interesting. And so what would be good tomorrow would be to have a little bit more input from the people on the ground, although I noticed that we had quite a lot of interactions today, which was very satisfying. So thank you very much, everyone. And we'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same place.
Exactly.
I just wanted to wish Brendan a happy birthday today. Thanks, Brendan, for setting this up on your birthday.
Happy birthday, Brendan.
Happy birthday,
Brendan.
Brendan. Happy birthday to
Happy
you.
birthday, Brendan. Happy birthday, Brendan.
As I joked to my partner, I said the reviewers should give us an extra point because I did this on my birthday. So just remember that, everybody. Thank you.
Brendan, we are not
Brendan, we need a treat.
we are not into
Yeah,
we are
that
not
is
into
remaining due.
point and ranking and scoring, so don't worry about the point.
And then
Thank you,
Eric,
everybody.
this is the beauty of SRFSI that once we have a meeting, someone has a birthday. So today is also birthday of Brendan. So that
Very
proves
good.
our,
We're also missing Mahesh, your dancing party that you organized.
Yeah, definitely.
That's one of the problems. Anyway, we're missing a lot. Okay, good night, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.